from the campus of Volunteer State Community College. This is Inside Politics.
Welcome to Inside Politics. I'm Amie Lara.
And I'm Grady Eades. Our fall series of programs introducing you to the candidates for governor in 2010 continues today with our guest, State Senator Roy Herron of Dresden, who represents the 24th Senate District. Senator Herron is seeking the Democratic nomination for governor. Welcome, Senator Herron.
Honored to be with you, sir.
First, since some of our viewers may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My family is where I guess I should start. My father was a disabled World War II vet. He spent 10 months in hospitals overseas and in this country, and then emerged from that, went from hospital beds to wheelchairs to crutches to 2 canes to 1 cane. By the end of his life, he wore orthopedic shoes. Many people never knew he'd even been injured. My mother survives. She's 93 and still full of spunk and vigor and love. I have 3 sons, 1 wife, and I'm blessed that all 3 boys have at least made it through their teenage years. Keep us in your prayers as they go forward. I've got, in terms of who we are and what we're about, I was blessed to be raised in a faith community and a family that valued the faith, and worked for a time as a Methodist minister. Not much of one, some said, but at any rate was one. In terms of my work, I've served in that way and also as an attorney and a businessman. Grew up working on my family's farm. When my father died, helped work my way through school. And then in terms of public service, I've been in the General Assembly for 23 years. I've served as the Democratic Caucus Chairman and the Democratic Floor Leader, and I'm honored to be one of those seeking the Democratic nomination now for governor.
Very good.
Well, why did you decide to run for governor?
I want to give something back to a great state that's given my family and me so much. And I wanted to run now because I think Tennessee is at a defining moment, a crucial time in our state's history. We're going to make decisions in the next few years that will determine whether we will have a prosperous future and the kind of future that we're capable of having, or whether we won't. It's just that serious and it's just that simple. We're going to make decisions about education and economic activity that will affect this state for generations to come. And I want to make sure for my sons and my neighbors that Tennessee, we have the kind of Tennessee we all want, and the kind of Tennessee that the citizens deserve.
How would you say the campaign has been going so far?
I'm having a great time. You know, people talk about how hard you work, and we do work hard, but what a blessing to get to be out. And I get to see old friends, I get to make new friends, I get to talk about issues I'm passionate about, and I get to learn from Tennesseans. And there's not a day that goes by that some Tennessean doesn't teach me something. And generally it's several Tennesseans, and they're trying to teach me a lot.
Let's get to some of the issues. The next governor will be inheriting the largest unemployment rate in years, and almost 11%. You state that your top priority is keeping and creating jobs. What specifically will you do to accomplish this?
The unemployment rate is an enormous challenge, and it's one that I've been dealing with particularly. Perry County, here in Middle Tennessee, on the western edge of Middle Tennessee, is one of the counties I represent. 2 years ago, Perry County had an unemployment rate of 6%, and then earlier this year it hit 27%, when 90% of the automotive jobs were gone. The citizens of Perry County have fought back. They are wonderful, courageous, brave people. And working together with Governor Bredesen, we've been able to provide some relief so that some of those citizens who lost their jobs are now back at work. Some in the private sector, some in the public sector, and some of them are going to school now with the help of the programs that we put together. It is the top issue in this state. It's the top issue for me. My top 3 priorities, if I'm elected governor, will be jobs, jobs, and jobs. It'll be holding on the jobs we've got, growing new jobs through existing industries and businesses. It'll also be trying to recruit and bring in new jobs from other states and other countries to come to Tennessee. The top 3 ways to get there, to get those jobs, will be education, education, and education. Pre-K through high school, vocational and technical education for those who choose that route, and then higher education, including community colleges, right on through PhDs for those who choose higher education in that way. The key to our future, to our economic success, is going to be how well we educate our workers for the 21st century. The old days when a strong back and a strong work ethic would make you a strong living are just about gone now. When I was growing up, hauled hay, did construction, we did a lot of things with our backs and our brawn, or what passed for brawn, or whatever some of us had. But those jobs are just about gone. The square bales aren't around anymore. Everybody has round bales, and the few that have square bales left, they use equipment instead of teenagers to move those bales. I used to unload fertilizer trucks, 50-pound bags at a time. You put 500 to 600 pounds on a dolly and you roll it off and restack it. Now everybody uses bulk fertilizer. Those strong back jobs are just about gone. And now in this modern economy, as we're in competition, we're competing not just Tennesseans against Kentuckians or Alabamans, but we're competing with people on the other side of the world. If you happen to have a Dell computer that was made over here in Wilson County nearby, and you had a problem with it and you called the support number, you'd talk to somebody. If you called from area code 615, you'd talk to somebody with a very nice southern accent, and they'd be talking with you from India. Many places now, if you go in for diagnostic tests, those tests are shipped over the net, and the person who analyzes those, writes up the report, and ships the report back over the internet to your treating physician is in Australia or India. When they can diagnose our computers and our bodies on the other side of the world, there are very few jobs that aren't subject to this competition now. And so our challenge in the years ahead is to make sure that our citizens get the education they need, they deserve, so they can compete for these 21st century jobs in this worldwide competition.
Well, we'll come back to education in a second, but let me ask this follow-up. You have cited the West Tennessee megasite as an example of how we can grow Tennessee's economy. What are the details of this project? How will that work?
Part of what it needs to take place is you've got to have sites where large industries can come and where the infrastructure is already in place, where you have the access to transportation that you need, whether that's by rail or water or highway, where you have the infrastructure, where you have the gas, the electric, also that the site can be fully functional very, very quickly. When these companies make decisions, they don't want to wait around for the infrastructure to be prepared. And we have competitors in other states and other countries all over this world they have these kind of sites ready for them. If we're going to compete in Tennessee, we have to have the same thing. That's why it was so important to do what we did in West Tennessee, to do what's been done here in Middle and in East. The new Volkswagen plant that's coming to Chattanooga, the multi-million dollar, actually probably billion-dollar investment just north and east of there in Cleveland, the new investment, billion-dollar investments taking place in Clarksville nearby. All of those took place when there were people in government who worked with private industry and prepared sites so that the huge investments could come. And the jobs aren't just the 1,100 on the line jobs plus the white-collar jobs that are being developed at Volkswagen. There'll be suppliers all over the state and in other states that will be working, and there'll be people employed all over the state who benefit from these new mega sites. In West Tennessee, some of the highest unemployment in the state, Lauderdale County near that site, Haywood County actually where the site is, almost 20% unemployment, just slightly under that now. Those are sites where this mega site can begin to bring the jobs, and when it does, it'll continue to expand and provide opportunities. And that'll be good for us all over the state. When Volkswagen comes to Chattanooga, when any other company comes to this state, it's beneficial to all of us.
Well, how do you go about recruiting new industries to the state?
The top thing you've got to have is a passionate commitment to it. The governor has to be, like Governor Bredesen has been, deeply committed to recruiting industry. You've got to have top flight people in your Department of Economic and Community Development, and I'll make sure we have those people working for us, for all of us in that recruiting. You've got to make sure that your citizens are well educated for the jobs that can be offered, that they're the educated workforce for 21st century jobs. That's why I keep talking about education. And you've got to make sure that your infrastructure is ready. All of those things are part of it. Now, one other piece that deserves recognition, and it'll be a commitment of mine as well, is you got to keep your taxes low. And Tennessee is a very business-friendly state. It's a state with low taxes compared to other states, and it's one of the reasons we've had such enormous success in bringing in so many new companies and new headquarters here to Tennessee.